The hymns, are they in, they're in the white folder, right?
Yes, and they should
Good morning. I am Andrew Kirilason, co-president of the Sixth Form. Welcome to the Baccalaureate service for the class of 2021.
And I'm Saja Mayfield, co-president of the Sixth Form. Please stand and join in singing our opening hymn, Earth and All Stars.
Please stand for the opening praise. O God, be merciful to us and bless us.
Show us the light of your countenance and come to us.
Let your ways be known upon earth.
Your saving health among all nations.
Let the peoples praise you, O God.
Let all the peoples praise you.
Blessed be the one holy and living God.
Glory to God forever and ever.
Please be seated for the readings.
The discipline of knowledge is superior to religious disciplines performed with materials. All actions in entirety get resolved in knowledge. Understand that which is to be known by respecting the wise and by asking proper questions. Those wise ones who have the vision of the truth will teach you. Gaining this knowledge which was taught by them, you will not again be deluded in this manner and by this knowledge. You will see all beings in yourself and in me. Even if you are the worst sinner among all sinners, you will cross all sins with ease by the mere raft of knowledge. Just as a well-lighted fire reduces wood to ashes, so too the fire of knowledge reduces all actions to ashes. In this world, there is indeed no purifier equivalent to knowledge.
לכל זמן ועת לכל חפץ תחת השמיים, עת ללדת ועת למות, עת לטעת ועת לעקור נטועה, עת להרוג ועת לרפוא, עת לפרוט ועת לבנות, עת לבכות ועת לשחוק, עת ספוד ועת ריקוד, עת להשליך אבנים ועת כאנוס אבנים, עת לחבוק ועת לרחוק מחבק, עת לבקש ועת לאבד, עת לשמור ועת להשליך, עת לקרוע ועת לתפור, עת לחשות ועת לדבר, עת לאהוב ועת לשנוא, עת מלחמה ועת שלום. A season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for being born and a time for dying, a time for planting and a time for uprooting the planted, a time for slaying and a time for healing, a time for tearing down and a time for building up, a time for weeping and a time for laughing, a time for wailing and a time for dancing, a time for throwing stones and a time for gathering stones, a time for embracing and a time for shunning embraces, a time for seeking and a time for losing, a time for keeping and a time for discarding, a time for ripping and a time for sewing, a time for silence and a time for speaking, a time for loving and a time for hating, a time for war and a time for peace.
Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, beloved, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence and if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Keep on doing the things that you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Read in the name of your sustainer who has created humankind out of a germ cell. Read, for your sustainer is the most generous. He's taught through the use of the pen, taught humankind what they have not known. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. There's indeed in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the succession of night and day signs for those who use their intellect.
Let us pray for this class, for the school, and for all who teach and all who learn. O Lord, our God, we thank you for this school set upon a hill, for the voices from the past that still speak their challenge to us, the memories that bless our lives and inspire us, and the unfading light kindled long ago by loyal hearts which shines upon our path. Grant that each of us may hear these voices, be thrilled by these memories, and walk in that light, guarding with jealous care for future generations the rich heritage entrusted to us. Amen.
Blessed are you, O Lord, our God, and King of the universe, who has given of your wisdom to flesh and blood. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
God, our Creator, we give you thanks for the gift of inquiring minds and discerning hearts, for the world to be known and the desire to know it. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
O God, most merciful and most compassionate, you grant wisdom to whom you please, and those who receive it are given an abundant good. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
God of beauty, so ancient and so new, we bless you for our sorrows and our joys, and for all the arts by which we share our lives and nourish our souls. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
We thank you, O giver of life and health, because through the years of practice and of contest, in victory and in defeat, you have helped us to grow in body and in mind, and bound us more closely together with one another. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
Sustaining God, we praise you for our parents, guardians, and teachers, for all who love us and care for us and challenge us to be our truest selves. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
God the provider, we give you glory for new friends awaiting us in new places, and for new work to do, for the new day that lies before us with all of its hopes and fears. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
Almighty God, we ask your blessing on all schools, colleges, and universities, and especially on the Hill School. We thank you for its founders and benefactors, and we pray that we may, like them, have grace to maintain it in our own day. Nations will speak of your wisdom, O God, and the congregation will proclaim your praise.
Grant us, O God, the desire for a sound mind and a sound body, the love of justice and the courage to stand for it, the gift of enduring friendships, the strength to serve our companions, and steadfast loyalty to whatsoever things are true. Amen.
Please stand and join in singing our school hymn, Upon a Hill Our City Stands.
Upon a hill our city stands, dark and its walls be hid from sight.
Please be seated. Before I get started, a quick announcement. When we leave today, please be careful. It's quite slippery. We've added a mat, and instead of turning right, you're going to turn left and go and line up under the portico between the dean's office and the headmaster's office. Good morning. Good morning. It's really special to be back in this room together. Big Yellow Taxi, a well-known 1970 Joni Mitchell song and reprised by the Counting Crows in 2002, includes the following refrain.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Ooh, bop, bop, bop. In the late summer of 1988, when most of your parents and I were getting ready to go back to middle school for a new school year, the glam metal band Cinderella released its most popular single, a rock ballad titled You Don't Know What You've Got Till It's Gone, which included similar lyrics in the refrain. Can't you just see your parents out there? Don't know what you've got till it's gone. Don't know what I did so wrong. Now I know what I got, just this song. And it ain't easy to get back, takes so long. By my count, during my first 8 years as headmaster, I have attended approximately 550 services here in Alumni Chapel. In the last 15 months, however, we've had only 2 services, including this one. As you undoubtedly recall, the last time we truly gathered here together as a full community was in February 2020. As fifth formers, you and all the other underformers had to stand and wait for the sixth form to file out before leaving. The way the recession works out, the last student to leave the chapel every day is typically a fifth former who sits back there across from the headmaster's pew, about where Ellie or Raina is sitting right now. In your fifth form's case, that was Colleen Quinn. As Mrs. Lehman and I liked to kid with her at the time, she was the last girl praying. Little did we know that those extra minutes that Colleen spent in the chapel actually meant that she got to spend more time in this beautiful space. While at the time it was probably frustrating to her, and she would have rather been hanging out with her friends in the quad or the grill before leaving to go to her next period class, Colleen cumulatively spent something like an hour more than the rest of you in Alumni Chapel before this space and these meaningful communal gatherings were taken away from us, like many other important traditions at Hill during the pandemic. I guess Joni Mitchell and Cinderella knew what they were talking about. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. Your sixth form year has been defined by sacrifice and loss. And I'm sure that you're tired of hearing these comments like, be grateful that you even have the option of being in person. Think of all you get to do that others don't. And at least you get to be here this spring for graduation. While all of that is true, I think those comments are probably designed to elicit compliance or even perhaps guilt, rather than to prompt thoughtful reflection about your loss, the emotional impact of that loss, and the related costs. So instead of minimizing your loss, I think we should process it this morning. What have you actually lost this year? There are some obvious losses: chapel, seated meals, and many aspects of sports and other co-curricular activities. You've also lost time with family and friends, weekend leaves, parents' weekend, off-campus activities, spring break trips, and so on. And then there are the more intangible losses: quiet conversations with a friend, unencumbered opportunities to build new relationships with students and faculty, a hug, a high five, a shoulder to cry on when you needed it most, the perspective and insight of the students that would have been together with you in different settings were it not for de-densification or remote participation, and most importantly, the healing power of a smile given or received. These are real losses. We can quantify the impact of some of them, and others will never fully realize. At the same time, you have experienced many gains over the last year that you might not have had were it not for the pandemic. You've developed new practices and habits of mind around health and hygiene. You've become more self-reliant, more disciplined. You've enhanced your technological and communication skills. You've learned to play and perform for the love of the game or the art, not just to win or please or impress others. You've built resilience and patience, learned how to defer gratification, two of the most important traits possessed by successful people. You've discovered the simple pleasures of a walk with a friend, a bike ride around campus, or carving a pumpkin. You've watched every movie and show ever created. Some of you actually have spent more time with your family or have been more deliberate or intentional about family time than you may have been during a typical school year. And because you're living through a shared crisis together, you've forged deeper relationships with your classmates, teammates, and hallmates. You thus have had losses and gains. Losses and gains. Now, I'm not an economist, but we are fortunate that many of you have studied economics under Mr. Baum and Mr. Genikis, and you've learned about the related but slightly different concepts of accounting and economic profit. I'm going to come back to these concepts in a moment, so hold that thought. But while we're on the topic of economics, I'd like to pause and correct an oversight made during the academic awards last night. We accidentally omitted 2 economics awards. First, the Hannah J. Garton Class of 2015 Award for Academic Excellence in Economics is awarded to Logan Clauser, with honorable mention to Philip Kirshner. Both of you should stand. I know we don't normally clap in chapel, but it's important. You can stay standing, Logan. Second, the R. Keith Elliott and Erica Elliott Parents of 2015 and 2018 Economics Award for commitment to subject mastery is awarded to Nuri Dingra, with honorable mention to Jamie Olson. Please stand. Thank you. Now, back to economics and accounting profit and economic profit. Accounting profit is what most of us think about when we use the term profit. You add up your gains and revenues and subtract your costs to calculate your profit. If we could value as revenues stronger relationships, more time with family, improved hygiene, and an encyclopedic knowledge of Netflix, and then attribute a price to the loss of a seated meal, hugs and smiles, we could determine whether there was any accounting profit during the last year. According to Mr. Baum, economic profit is a bit more nuanced. In addition to just offsetting losses and gains, it factors in opportunity costs, which are defined as the loss of potential gains that you passed up by choosing a particular mutually exclusive path over another. The cost of the missed opportunity. As a simple example, By choosing to wake up for Baccalaureate this morning, the opportunity cost is not being more rested after staying up to see the sunrise. A more empirical example, by choosing to go to college next year, the opportunity cost is losing the wages you might have earned if you instead started to work full-time tomorrow. In both of these examples, you may have made more accounting profit if you chose the alternative, but you chose the alternative with the most economic profit, and really, as Mr. Baum would put it, the best possible outcome for you. He'd also probably tell you that it was a legit decision. So there were a lot of opportunity costs for choosing to be at Hill this year. You could have spent your year at a different school, perhaps one that had less on-campus rules or off-campus restrictions, and you wouldn't have had to give up so much. Alternatively, you could have taken the year off, worked as a DoorDash driver, become a professional gamer, or hung out on the beach, and perhaps come back to Hill next year when things were almost certainly going to be more normal. Some of you could have figured out a way to start college early, go play junior hockey, or even take your GED and be done with it. But there are two other concepts to consider. First, the flip side of opportunity cost, opportunity benefit, or the value you received from choosing the alternative that you did. In your case, your lifelong friends who endured this experience with you together. Can you imagine Issa Pan being here this year without Morgan Kessler? Philip Jin without Billy Gussler? Tanner Eccleston setting up a dorm room lawn party without Sidney Floyd sitting next to her? Or Gabe Dorsey jumping in the Dell later today without Lewis by his side? Second, nobody can define economic profit for another person because we are all built differently with very specific and unique value systems. In that sense, we are each an original. Some of you don't view missing chapel as a loss. For others, it was upsetting. Giving up club sports was devastating to many of you. For others, it meant more time to try something new at Hill. We evaluate our own opportunity costs, especially those that are intangible, and thus we define and measure our own economic profit. So who is really to say whether this year has been profitable or not? A gain or a loss? A win or a defeat? A joy or a sorrow? The answer is you, each of you, and you alone. 2 weeks ago, when we gathered on the quad for the Elville Pep Rally and I announced that masks and distancing outdoors were no longer required, it was borderline mayhem. We witnessed smiles, hugs, tears, as if for the first time. You literally jumped for joy. You sang, you cheered, you exhaled, you basked in the sun. Since that day, a weight has been lifted from our community. These last few days have been even more special, for we have come full circle. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. And now, in many ways, we've got it back. Don't ever let it go. Don't ever undervalue what you've got again. And don't ever let others define the worth of what you have got. This is always an especially bittersweet day for Mrs. Lehman and me. I can still see the look on each of your faces as you walked over to shake my hand and register for your first year at the Hill. We've been witnesses to your growth, your struggle, your laughter, your performances, your learning, your mistakes, your pranks, your generosity, your talents, and strength of character. With the entire faculty, we have watched over you like you're our own children, loving you, holding you accountable, caring for you, setting limits, teaching you, and celebrating your success. We're excited for your next chapter, but honestly, we're not ready to let you go. We want more time with you, especially after this year. Yet we know it's your time to take the next step in your journey. You're ready. I know it's been a long time since you've heard my traditional seated lunch grace, but please join me in prayer for a slightly modified version for this occasion. Let us pray. Let us be truly thankful for the experiences we've enjoyed at the Hill, for the blessings bestowed upon this community, for the joys and sorrows that bind us ever closer, for all the days we've had together and all the days to come. Amen. Good luck, Godspeed. We love you all.
Please stand and join in singing our closing hymn, Lord, through changing days unchanging.
Lord, through changing days unchanging, still thy light our founders knew. Through our winding ways arranging, let your splendor claim us too. Oh, before us, kindle o'er us, whatsoever things are true. Be the path through vale of mountain, through the clouds or through the blue. My smooth field or silver fountain, or parched desert struggle through. Hold us serving, on unswerving, whatsoever things are true. Bring us by your loving kindness, always ever bring to you. If we stray in human blindness, year by year our bonds renew. Show more clearly, still more dearly, whatsoever things are true.
Please remain standing for the dismissal. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God!
kind of thing where you get started, you just can't stop. Can't eat just.
she has it, okay.
It's the middle school song.
Stars playing on band.
Yeah. I know when you were at the middle school. She was.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Sure. Girls with short distance are better.
I think these are them. She printed out a new set, double check. In other words, we've got a good 20 minutes, so yep, we'll do it. You get them up? There they come. Good morning. And welcome to the 170th commencement ceremony at the Hill School. Please stand if you are able and remain standing as our 4 sixth form members of the Hill Tones and Hill Trebles, Brianna Hartman, Greta Haverstick, Leo Shi, and Mamadou Ba, sing the national anthem, and as Reverend Adams offers our invocation. Fittingly for this year, the vocal performances today will be hybrid, including both pre-recorded and in-person singers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
As we gather here today to celebrate a step forward into new places with new people and new experiences, let us not forget the blessings that follow behind us. For this school, which has given us a safe space to learn, for our teachers who have so richly loved and cared for our students, for our families who have cheered them and stood by their sides on to the finish line. And on this day especially, we are grateful for the friends that have been found among one another, for all the jokes that you will laugh about in years to come, for the hardships and tears that you've endured together side by side, and for the love which has been made evident through the relationships that you will carry beyond this day. As we gather for this graduation ceremony, we recognize our diversity in beliefs, faith traditions, and values, but most importantly, we honor our unity and gratitude. Thank you. We are grateful for this class of 2021. Amen.
Please be seated. In gambling, there is an obscure wager known as a parlay. A parlay is a bet that combines and accumulates several different wagers. One only wins the parlay if you win all of the different wagers, which consequently makes it an extremely long odds bet with a high payoff. I've often described running a boarding school during the COVID-19 pandemic as the parlay of all parlays, with each school accumulating their own combination of countless interconnected wagers to predict, prepare for, and react to the pandemic. For Hill, our COVID parlay incorporated starting classes 2 weeks early, switching to a block schedule, starting day students at home for a week, the shepherding system, de-densifying campus, health compacts, on-campus rapid testing, tents, wave, Meridian wristbands, the Trace app, remember that? LRP, vaccination, and underformers leaving 10 days early to give our seniors as normal of a senior week as possible. Up until this point, we've beaten the odds, but we stretched the parlay by choosing an outdoor, in-person, open-air commencement with a spectator footprint too large for a tent. I hope you won't let the rain dampen your spirits or interfere with the spectacular accomplishment that today represents for our students, faculty, and families. Despite the rain, we definitely won the COVID parlay this year, and I hope you will accept being together here today over being dry. Thank you for your patience, and please keep the Hill ponchos as a souvenir from this unforgettable occasion. As a courtesy to those seated behind you, we respectfully request that you don't use umbrellas while seated during the ceremony. If you must use an umbrella, please stand on the upper school patio behind the quad. Also, if we do have to pause the ceremony for severe weather, please note that students should return to the dormitory common rooms, faculty should gather back in the Quadrivium Center, and guests should exit the quad carefully on either side of upper school and gather in Mercer Fieldhouse and Sweeney Gym with assistance from Hill Security. Now, on with the show. I can still remember the first time I saw the Hill Quad. It wasn't raining. I was touring campus during my own interview process in the fall of 2011 and entered from the northeast corner over there between upper school and the library. Instantly, I could sense Hill's history and tradition. The quad also felt welcoming, inviting, vibrant, and purposeful. As I watched students and faculty stroll to classes, heading back to the dorm, or chatting with friends. For me, and perhaps for many of you, it was truly love at first sight. And even after 10 years and thousands of laps since that first glimpse, the quad still engenders that same sense of awe for me. The use of the term quad to describe an open rectangular campus space purportedly was first used in the 1820s at Oxford. Surprisingly, in Hill's 170 years, this is only the second time that commencement has been held on the Hill Quad, with the previous time being in 1977, when the old hockey rink was under construction, now the site of the Dell modular classrooms. On that day, our commencement speaker was James Baker, Hill School class of 1948 and former White House Chief of Staff, Secretary of the Treasury, and Secretary of State. Notice there was no tent that day either. Today, 34 years plus a week later, we gather here for commencement again. The quad itself, the grassy area upon which you are sitting, is generally a spot for casual, relaxing student time and is home to many important Hill traditions, including J-Ball, Strawberry Festival, the Hill All-School Photo, and the Alumni Path. It also was used as an athletics field in its early days, so as you can see from that photo. So it represents the essential co-curricular and extracurricular aspects of the Hill experience. To the west, your right, is Alumni Chapel, which has served as Hill's spiritual and community nexus since its construction in 1904. For over a century, Alumni Chapel has been a gathering space for our students and faculty, a communal place to worship, reflect, celebrate, mourn, and heal, and a place to learn from the experiences of our fellow community members. On the north side, behind you, is Hunt Upper School, our largest and most iconic dormitory. Between family night, a structured yet casual residential experience, and the lifelong friendships developed within, Upper School represents the family boarding school ideal. To the east, your left, is Ryan Library. Given the current spaces and activities that occur within the library, it represents the intellectual curiosity and communication skills that have been fundamental to a Hill education since our inception. The memorial room within also pays tribute to Hill veterans, and the building originally housed our first auditorium and theater, and thus simultaneously represents our love of the arts and Hill's commitment to citizenship and country. And lastly, to the south, directly behind me, is the Academic Center, housing many of our classrooms, student center, and administrative offices. It represents the scholastic experience and is where the incredibly strong bonds between Hill students and faculty are born. As you can see, the quad is not just a beautiful central space on our campus. Rather, this space embodies the key components of the total Hill student experience. It is thus the perfect place to celebrate the culmination of those experiences for these 147 sixth formers. As I, for one, hope that the quad becomes our permanent venue for this event. As we begin our formal commencement ceremony today, let us first offer our collective thanks to those who have supported the class of 2021 along their extraordinary journey. The individuals who cheered them on, advised them, guided them, coaxed them, and trusted them, and above all else, loved them during their time at Hill. First, I would ask the parents, grandparents, and siblings of our graduating class to please stand and be recognized for all that you've done to enable these remarkable young men and women to arrive at this important milestone. Second, I would ask that our faculty and staff who are present rise and accept the genuine thanks of our sixth form and their families for their exemplary efforts on behalf of the class of 2021. Please also join me in thanking the full-time and part-time departing faculty members who we recognized and celebrated at our recent Dial dedication ceremony. Ms. Rebecca Schipper, Ms. Sophia Gantenbein, Mr. Brett Diagardi, Mrs. Kelsey Bassett, Ms. Erin Ruan, Mr. Yassine Benzanin, Mr. Andrew Bassett, and Mr. Nathaniel Yinger. Third, this class is very fortunate to have enjoyed the leadership, patience, and care from their form advisors, Ms. Larissa Snyder and Mr. Edward Turner. And I ask that they rise and be acknowledged. And finally, I would ask that the current and former members of our Board of Trustees in attendance, including our current board chair, Mr. Preston Athey, class of 1967, and our incoming board chair, Mr. Jim Alexandre, class of 1975, please rise and accept our gratitude for your leadership, dedication, and support for the Hill School. My sincere thanks to those of you who joined us yesterday for the Alumni Induction Brunch, the Legacy Tea, and Class Day Award Ceremony. This morning, we will continue and conclude the festivities. We will enjoy the Sixth Form student address, hear from our commencement speaker, Mr. Preston G. Athey, and award a number of special prizes to our students. And of course, we will bestow diplomas, and our graduates will go for a dip in the Dell. With that, let us begin. I am delighted to introduce Sixth Former Jamie Olson to offer the Sixth Form student address.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My peers, take a look around you. Look at your peers surrounding you, the person on your left, the person on your right, and think about all the experiences you've had with each of these people. When I do this, I reminisce on how impressed and inspired I've always been by the work ethic and maturity of my peers. I'm certain that the students in this community are the primary factor that has helped shape me into who I am today. I'm a firm believer that you are the sum of the people you surround yourself with, and because I've been around so many hardworking and motivated people like all of you for these past 3 years, I found these disciplines in myself. Why is this the case? Why does being around better people make you want to better yourself? I contend this is because we as humans are inherently competitive. Working to better yourself can be motivating, but not nearly as motivating as working to be better than others. It's why kids scramble around class after a test is passed back, asking others what their grade was. Their sense of achievement isn't based on how well they did, but rather how well they did compared to everyone else. While competition certainly makes people better, it also creates sentiments of jealousy and deprecation of oneself and/or others that can cause us to lose sight of the progress made in personal goals and growth that we are here to acknowledge and celebrate today. I use grades here, but that's just an arbitrary example. You can replace this category with any other area you desire being the best in. I'm guilty of this behavior myself, as I know most of us are. We all want to see those we care about succeed and be happy. But when we start to see those people as more successful or happier than we are, we become envious. I think many of us felt this way around the college decision time recently. We all want nothing more than to see the excitement of our peers getting into their dream school. But when we step back and compare their excitement to our own from our personal college experiences, we may begin to feel envious. We may ask ourselves, could I have gotten into this or that school? Did I make the right choice? And what if I didn't? I don't think any of us are wishing for the failure of our peers when we have these moments of self-doubt. But as I said earlier, you become the sum of those around you. When everyone around you is doing exceptional things, like we are, anything less than exceptional can feel like failure. In these moments, rather than viewing our achievements through our own perspective of how far each of us has come, we only allow ourselves contentment if we feel successful relative to our peers. It's important to remember why we do what we do, why we came here, and what we hope to achieve as 14-year-olds arriving to campus for the first time. I came to Hill to be surrounded by peers that would motivate me to be the best version of myself. And in coming here, I found not only that, but friendships and memories that I hope to last a lifetime. Whenever I come to Miss Hill, I'm not going to think about arbitrary awards, prizes, or grades, but rather the memories I was able to make by taking the time not to worry about these concepts. Memories like a 20-minute dinner in the dining hall turning into a 2-hour discussion. Memories like hanging out with my friends in the day student locker room after class or waiting to go home. Memories like helping the third formers in my dorm adjust to Hill. When we look back at our time at Hill, things like grades or social status, etc., they aren't going to matter. What's going to matter is if you can look back on your time here and genuinely cherish that time. I have no doubt that I'll be able to do that, and I truly hope you can say the same. My message here may feel a little late on an occasion like this. With commencement upon us, this chapter in our lives probably feels over to you. While the stage of our lives is over, and we won't all be in the same community anymore, the class of 2021 is forever bound by our time here, by being Hill alumni, and by being in the same class. Because of this, our time spent competing and comparing ourselves to each other is not over. And in a sense, it's only just begun. As life goes on for us, we won't stop comparing ourselves to each other. We'll only compare each other on things that will seem more important and self-defining. Things like how we perform in college, what jobs we get after college, how much money we make, the list goes on. There are many people in this class you may never see again, and more whose lives will not affect you in any way. Yet you will likely hear about them through social media or other classmates and still compare their life to yours. And it's easy to harbor feelings of jealousy over these sorts of things. I believe it's only natural. But if you let negative emotions like these consume you, it will only serve to hurt your mental health and relationships with others. So how do we avoid letting these negative emotions get the best of us? When dealing with situations like these, it's important to narrow your focus and put things into perspective. You don't need to be the best at anything to be successful or happy. I look out at all of you, and I see nothing but exceptionally talented and motivated young people who will surely go on to do exceptional things. For a group like this, the best is an extraordinarily, sometimes impossibly high standard. What I think we'll come to find, though, is that so many of us will be leading extraordinary lives that this kind of comparison shouldn't matter. We've all been granted privileges that are an impossibility for many, and these privileges will serve us greatly as life goes on. Among high school seniors in these uncertain times, the future doesn't get much brighter than the one we've been afforded by getting to go to school here. It's understandable to feel high expectations due to being afforded these privileges, and I think it's important to understand that these privileges come with expectations. Rather than comparing our future outlook to that of our peers, though, we should see how bright each of our own futures are and find excitement in that. There may be things you would do differently if given these past 3 years to go back and do again, but this is not a time for regret. This is a time for celebration and acknowledgement of our collective achievement. And it would be a shame if you let that be overshadowed by comparing your own experience to anyone else's. I am eternally grateful for Hill and for the opportunity to have known each and every one of you over the past 4 years. Thanks to Hill, I got to have teachers who truly have a passion for educating. Thanks to Hill, I got to meet students from parts of the world I will never see myself and hear their stories. Thanks to Hill, I learned things about myself that I would have never known otherwise. And to this day, I am so deeply inspired, truly inspired by the talents of my peers and the passion and dedication that they put into those passions. The past 4 years have been imperfect, unpredictable, and a roller coaster of emotions and events, to say the very least. You can see today as a prime example. But what matters is that we're here now, all together, getting the proper send-off last year's class was robbed of. And I think, if anything, last year reminds us that that is a true privilege. Looking out at you all, I don't see numbers or GPAs or attributes, just memories of the friends that made me laugh harder than I've ever laughed. I look to my left and my right, and I see teachers that have made me think more critically than I've ever thought. I look at all of you, and I see peers who have pushed me harder than I've ever been pushed, and I am eternally grateful for that. These memories are the gifts I will carry with me for the rest of my life. So for everyone who has been a part of my journey here, you have my eternal gratitude. To conclude, it can be good to compete. Competing with each other to be the best we can has made us all better in the process. And the connections we've established here will serve us greatly down the road. However, it is my hope that this competitive drive only serves to push us forward in our lives rather than apart. Hill ties never sever. Though this group of people will never all fully be in the same place at the same time again, we are all a team for the rest of our lives. We are Team Hill. We are the class of 2021, and I couldn't be prouder to be a part of that team. So from the bottom of my heart, to everyone in attendance today, and to my peers and teachers, I say thank you and good luck.
Careful, Donna. Careful. Thank you, Jamie. At this time, I'm thrilled to introduce Preston Athey, Hill class of 1967, chairman of the Hill School Board of Trustees, and as of last evening, the school's newest recipient of the Sixth Form Leadership Award. Factum omnia nihil gloria. The deed is everything, the glory is not. This is the motto of the class of 2020 that the class of 2021 chose to guide them during their time at Hill, as well as one that perfectly reflects Mr. Athey's life of leadership and service. During the gala last night, our head prefects Kiki and Aiden provided a glimpse into that life, sharing details of Mr. Athey's military service in the U.S. Navy, his educational pursuits first at Hill, then at both Yale and Stanford Business School, and his successful and storied 36-year career in finance at T. Rowe Price. To be sure, Mr. Athey has been a devoted friend to his Hill family and a loyal steward of our city on the Hill as a trustee and board chairman during the last 19 years. The impact of Mr. Athey's generosity extends to all areas of life at the Hill. When you hear a piano solo played on the Steinway during a concert in the CFTA, when you hang out with your friends in your dormitory common rooms, when you enjoy a meal with faculty and classmates in the dining hall, when you hear the ceremonious sounds of the organ in the chapel as you belt out "Whatsoever Things Are True" like you did today, when you take in the beauty of your surroundings as you take a walk across campus, and so much more. These are a few of the tangible examples of the ways in which Mr. Athey, along with his wife Nancy, who joins us here today, have made the Hill a better place through their good deeds. The Atheys continue to be the greatest advocates for the Hill faculty and students. Though some of you may never have met them in person, be assured they are always thinking of you and your well-being. Behind the scenes, they believe in taking care of the faculty and their personal and professional growth through the creation of the Aspire program. The Atheys are committed to ensuring talented and deserving students have the opportunity to attend Hill through their support of a number of scholarships and financial aid. And they have seen to it that we can offer dynamic, expansive, and innovative academic, arts, and athletics programs for students. I can think of no better person to send the class of 2021 off into the world than Mr. Preston Athey.
I'd probably do you all a favor if I just said thanks very much and sat down so we could keep going. Unfortunately, I'm sort of required to give this speech, so I'll do it quickly as I can, although I think hopefully it will have some meaning to each and every one of you. Before I really start, I would like to thank the Sixth Form. I was so flabbergasted last night to receive your award. I didn't thank you all in person, so let me do that right now. Thank you for honoring me as you have with that great award. And before beginning the formal remarks, I do also want to thank a number of other people here. First of all, I'd like to personally salute those who have made the past year possible. We all know what you've gone through. First, let's recognize the parents who trusted Hill to keep your children safe in the midst of the worst health crisis in 100 years. That trust might not seem so extraordinary, but given how few of America's colleges and secondary schools actually manage to hold classes in person and keep their communities healthy, it would not have been surprising if you had been skeptical that the Hill could do it. Second, I'd like to, frankly, thank all of you students up here in front. The adults of the school recognize that we asked a lot of you, from masking and physical distancing to changing your daily and weekly routines. You could have rebelled, and students at some of your peer schools actually did so. But you acted responsibly and maturely, and because you followed the guidelines, you made it possible for Hill, now catch this, to outperform every other boarding school in America in dealing with COVID, and that is worth celebrating. Third, to make this incredible result possible required hundreds of hours. Many of you students don't really realize how much time and effort went into planning to get this school year underway and successfully concluded. And that execution happened from the headmaster right down through every member of the faculty and staff. What I witnessed was a can-do spirit. We set a goal, in-person classes, without sacrificing the health of our students or our employees. And you, the faculty and staff, you accomplished the goal. Where others were scared, you stepped up and said, we're going to beat this thing. Students and parents, Let's acknowledge our faculty and administration for the job that they did. And finally, although it is perhaps unfair to single out any one individual, the Hill is blessed to have a first-class health and wellness team that shined when the crisis was most acute. Dr. Kristen Spencer, please rise so that we all might acknowledge your leadership over the past 15 months. Graduation from high school is a signal event. For half of your age group, it is the end of formal education. It comes at a time when society declares you an adult. At 18, you are legally able to vote and to sign contracts. You will be able to make up your own mind as to what courses you want to take in college, what career you may pursue, and how you will live your life. While your families are not about to abandon you, they do expect that you will spread your metaphorical wings and begin to make your own way. It is perfectly normal then that with this new independence will come a yearning to know what the rest of life has in store for you. We who have guided you to this point are not going to answer that question for you. You've earned the right to work it out for yourself. But if you will permit me, I intend to pose questions to help you frame the topic and suggest some things that have made an impression on me. All of us at one time or another have to deal with the overarching question, why am I here? What is my purpose in life? I don't expect you to have an answer to that question today. In my case, I only gained some clarity about that in my 20s. But to approach the answer, perhaps, it is helpful to explore some other questions. For example, what do I want out of life? Is it monetary riches, a big house, or a fancy car? Is it career success, fame, celebrity, power? These are all measures that the secular world uses to define success and tells us will give meaning to our life. Maybe you aren't wired that way. A lot of people pursue happiness as a goal. You might know that the most popular class at Yale is Professor Laurie Santos's class entitled Psychology and the Good Life. 1/4 of the student body have enrolled in that class. Last year, 170,000 people enrolled in that class on Coursera. And they studied topics such as what actually makes us happy and what can we do to achieve the good life. Another synonym of happiness is contentment. If contentment is important to you, how can you achieve it? Some of you will reject the pursuit of power, riches, and fame, but want to accomplish big things nonetheless. For you, your purpose in life will be to make a difference in the world. Do you want to help people, teach and mentor the next generation, combat poverty, illness, or injustice? If this appeals to you, then I suggest you could define your life's purpose as putting other people ahead of yourself. Have you ever contemplated what it means to be a hero? What are some of the heroes we have heard about? And why do we call them heroes? In our society, one class of heroes is defined by the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's the nation's highest award given to members of our military for conspicuous bravery in the face of the enemy. But we can think of other heroes who were not in the military. How about Captain Sully Sullenberger, who in 2009, after the engines of his plane were blown out by a bird strike, safely piloted his stricken aircraft into the Hudson River and saved all 155 people on board. That act, coolly performed, was for the public the definition of heroism. What may be more pertinent and relevant for this discussion, however, is that Captain Sullenberger's memoir of that flight is entitled Highest Duty, My Search for What Really Matters. Have you heard of Mother Teresa? Mother Teresa died before you students were born, but your parents knew who she was. She was born in 1910 to an Albanian family living in part of the Ottoman Empire. She decided at 18 to join a Catholic order of nuns, and she dedicated her life to serving the poor in India. In Calcutta, she founded the Missionaries of Charity and worked among the poorest of the poor in the slums for 47 years. Her example was so noteworthy that she was honored by world leaders during her lifetime and canonized by her church as a saint after her death. I get inspired by these kinds of heroes, and the people I've just described are certainly inspirational. But you may think you're not cut out to serve in the slums of Calcutta, or charge an enemy machine gun, or pilot a stricken plane to safety. Okay, fair enough. But you can be a quiet hero. You can make a real difference in the world, and I'm going to tell you some stories of people like you who did just that. William was born in 1887 to a very wealthy family. He was described as sociable, athletic, and with a charismatic personality. While in college, he made a decision to dedicate his life and fortune to doing Christian missionary work. He determined to serve Muslims in Western China. He moved to Cairo, Egypt, with the goal of learning Arabic and Islam so he might be more effective in his work. Tragically, he contracted cerebral meningitis while in Cairo and died at age 25. His fortune, $800,000 in 1912, the equivalent of over $20 million today, was donated primarily to support the China Mission Society. Thanks to the work of that body and others like it, it is believed that China has more Christians today than any nation on earth. William made a difference in the world, not so much by what he accomplished in life, but by what was made possible by his philanthropy in death. But it was his willingness to give up a potential life of status, family, and fortune to serve others that makes William a quiet hero to me. Keenan was born a century after William. Growing up in Atlanta, she was a star athlete with an infectious personality, but also a bit of a rebel. As one of her teachers said, Keenan did march to her own drumbeat. After her freshman year in college, Keenan decided to take a gap year hiking and mountain climbing around the world. During that time, she took a 9-week course in Nepal and studied Nepali, yoga, and meditation, and interned at a medical clinic. One day, she went swimming in a reservoir with 3 of her friends. An unusually strong current pulled away one of the friends, a Tibetan student named Kesang. Keenan was a strong swimmer and had played water polo in high school. So she attempted to rescue Kesang, but the current overwhelmed them and they were both pulled under. Keenan's body was found 2 hours later. Keenan could have held back. She could have played it safe, but she valued a new friend's life more than her own, and for that decision, I call her a quiet hero. Of course, you don't have to give your life to be a quiet hero. Here are examples of people still alive who valued others higher than themselves. Tom loved baseball and played in high school and college. When he realized he was not good enough to make the major leagues, he became a college coach. He was reputed to be not only a good coach, not only a good recruiter, but a man of integrity who cared about his players. One of those players described Tom as a stand-up guy, someone who treated his team members as family. That opinion was put to the test when Tom learned that Kevin, one of his recruited incoming freshmen, a player who had not actually played a game for him, had contracted kidney disease. If a donor were not found, Kevin would need dialysis for the rest of his life. Kevin's family members were all tested and none was a match. So Tom, the coach, had himself tested, and sure enough, he was a match. Tom did not hesitate. He volunteered to donate one of his 2 kidneys to this player, and in early 2011, the operation was performed successfully. Tom's one of those people you see a lot of around Hill, teachers and coaches who care about their students, who stay up late grading papers, who willingly take time to help a young man or woman get through a rough patch in life. They are all making a difference in the world, but Tom took it to another level with his totally selfless act that most of us, I suspect, might shy away from. In my eyes, Tom is a quiet hero. Alex was a college freshman when she signed up to be a potential bone marrow donor at a fundraiser sponsored by the football team. You may know that chemotherapy that many cancer patients undergo not only kills the cancer cells, but it severely compromises the patient's immune systems. An infusion of bone marrow from a donor may literally be the only chance that patient has to make a recovery. When Alex learned 4 years later, after signing up, that she was a tissue match to a cancer patient, she did not hesitate. Even though she had to miss 4 final exams that spring of her senior year, she did go through with the bone marrow transfer. The harvest was successful and the stranger's life was saved. Alex could have backed out. When they gave her the call, she could have said no. Going ahead with the procedure would put her life effectively on hold for a few months and postpone her college graduation. But her selfless act showed that she valued others more than herself. Alex is a quiet hero. Lenny was an African American who grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina in the Jim Crow South of the 1950s. His story might have been like so many of his generation, but Lenny was very determined, and his parents pushed him to succeed even in the face of racial discrimination. Lenny took up tennis and was taught and encouraged by black professionals who helped him develop his game. He played junior tennis, was mentored by the great Althea Gibson, the first black woman to win the U.S. Open tennis tournament, and became a close friend of the legendary Arthur Ashe. Lenny played at the U.S. Open and at Wimbledon as a teenager. He was captain of his college tennis team and the first black player to play world team tennis in the 1970s. After a long and fulfilling career teaching tennis and coaching in Knoxville, Tennessee, Lenny and his wife retired a few years ago back to Wilmington, North Carolina. But Lenny wasn't finished. He decided to start a junior tennis program for underserved kids in his hometown, teaching them not only the game, but lessons in how to succeed in school and in life. He started a nonprofit called One Love Tennis, and through astute fundraising has been able not only to reach hundreds of kids, but to take a number of them on trips to professional tournaments to meet such players as Serena and Venus Williams. Lenny could have packed it in at age 65 and lived a quiet life near the beach, but he had a desire to give back, to provide kids today with the same mentoring he received as a boy. His selfless concern for these kids, for putting together one of the most successful junior tennis programs in America, is what makes Lenny a quiet hero. And finally, there's Courtney. She was one of the first girls to attend an all-boys high school when it went co-ed. She studied hard, sought out leadership roles, played sports, and got into a good college. Immediately after graduating, she landed a job teaching high school English. Although she developed into a terrific classroom teacher, she realized that something was missing. She determined to incorporate service learning into her classes so students had more context about what they were reading and writing. While still meeting the requirements of an advanced curriculum, she created opportunities for her students to work with senior citizens living in a nursing home, young children learning to read, and young adults with developmental disabilities. Her students described this class as one of the most meaningful and inspirational experiences of their high school career. Courtney could have coasted as a traditional high school English teacher. She could have made sure her students understood literature and were prepared for the AP test. Instead, she tried something new and helped her students stretch out of their comfort zone, transforming their perspectives and developing empathy. For this reason, I call Courtney a quiet hero. Now, do you remember when I said these were people just like you? You can relate to them because they all attended this school. William Borden was Hill class of 1903. Keenan Fernandez was Hill 2007. Tom Walter, Hill class of 1987. Alex Lang, older sister of your classmate Kiki, was Hill 2014. Lenny Simpson was Hill class of 1968, just a year behind me. And of course, you all know Courtney Neese, Hill class of 2000 and chair of our English department. I'd like to think that Hill School helped to shape how all of these heroes approached life. Our motto, whatsoever things are true, may mean different things to each of us, but if we really believe it, if we really follow it, it can have a powerful influence on how we conduct ourselves and on how we treat others. So let me sum up. You young people are about to embark on a new stage of your life. Your first step is increasingly independent adults. You have a number of decisions to make over the next few years, and what you decide will be shaped by how you define success in your life. Will you seek after money, fame, or power? Wish for happiness and contentment? Or will you decide to make a difference in the world serving others by tackling some of society's most intractable problems? Fortunately, there's a little secret in this. It's my observation that those who decide to make a difference by serving others also end up highly contented in their lives. Sure, their road isn't always easy. It can be exciting, challenging, and it is wholly satisfying. At the end of their days, we don't define these people by the number of their possessions. We define them by the lives they have touched in a positive and transformative way. Graduates of the Hill, we applaud you. We are excited for your futures. We look forward to what you will accomplish, and we expect that there will be many quiet heroes among you whom we can acknowledge at a future Hill commencement. Thank you.
All right, sixth form, stand up. Jumping jacks, run in place, get warm. Do something, hug somebody, get warm, get warm. Parents, you can do it too. Faculty, all right. Sit back down, use that parka, use that, that's an extra layer. Okay, sit down. Rub your hands together, get warm. It's okay. We're going to speed it up best we can. I want to thank Preston. When he told me a few weeks ago that his speech was going to be about quiet heroes that graduated from the Hill School, I was thrilled. I'd been trying to figure out a way to segue into some quick follow-up remarks, and he gave me the perfect opening. In my opinion, there has been no quieter nor more heroic alumnus in the 170-year history of the Hill School than Preston Athey. While at Hill, Preston was most certainly a very strong student and actively involved with different student groups and music organizations. And as you heard last night and during his introduction, he had a stellar college, graduate school, and professional career. However, Preston will be the first to tell you that he didn't achieve any of the top Hill accolades that many of our commencement speakers often boast. Class president, honor council president, team captain, head of school, honor council president, editor-in-chief. And if you were to have polled his Hill classmates at the time of his graduation, I imagine that very few of them would have imagined him here as a future board chair or even being our speaker today, much less any of the other things I'm about to tell you. First of all, Preston and Nancy Athey are by far the most generous donors in the history of the Hill School. Prior to assuming his role as chairman of the board in 2013, Preston informed me that he would be donating $10 million to endow teacher compensation. At that time, the largest single gift in the school's history. Since that time, he's made numerous leadership gifts to support many projects and initiatives at the Hill, as I mentioned before, including the restoration of our beloved alumni chapel and dining hall, expansion of financial aid, and various dormitory improvements, to name just a few. Believe it or not, without any of you knowing it, he donated all the funds needed to ensure that our COVID-19 mitigation expenses would not cut into our operating budget or prevent any students from attending Hill this year due to family financial difficulties. Then a few months, yeah, that's worth clapping for. Then a few months ago, as Preston prepared to retire from the board, he quietly informed me that he and Nancy would be making another transformational gift to bookend his service as board chair and to support additional faculty compensation and a new financial aid program to commemorate the Hill's 100th anniversary of alumni ownership and governance. That donation arrived a few weeks ago, and you're the first ones to know about it. I'm pleased to share that Mr. and Mrs. Athey have donated nearly $12 million, exceeding their 2013 record-setting gift. Please join me in acknowledging this extraordinary contribution to the future of our school. I'm counting on one of you to do better. Although Preston's first gift to the Hill was $5.36 in 1968, the year after he graduated, you guys can do that, and his lifetime giving to Hill today totals more than $30 million, it's never been about the dollar amount to Preston. Rather, it's always, always about advancing the Hill community, and most importantly, the impact our students make when they go out into the world. Second, Preston is tireless in his commitment, serving as an ambassador and cheerleader for the Hill School, traveling around the United States and the world to meet with Hill alumni, parents, faculty, and prospective families. He meets with anybody interested in learning about the Hill, and he's generous with his time. In the last year alone, even during the pandemic, Preston participated in over 100 Zoom calls and meetings with Hill alumni and parents. He knows every detail of the school's operations and programs and is a master storyteller, effectively sharing the positive trajectory of the school's history and encouraging others to join him in advancing the Hill. I know of no other independent school board chair in the country that puts in anywhere near the amount of time and energy that Preston does for their school. And finally, Preston's just an outstanding board chair in terms of his formal governance role. He guides board meetings efficiently and effectively. He has high expectations for his fellow trustees, and they hold him in the highest regard. He acknowledges and appreciates others for their work. He meets with me weekly to provide guidance and advice, and is always available for a phone call or text message when needed. He's a talented facilitator and negotiator, respects process, but also demands results. And despite never making the varsity golf team at Hill, he's easily one of the most competitive people I know, always pushing Hill to achieve excellence in every respect. Despite all of this, while he's well known in certain circles, Preston's not famous, not in the traditional sense anyway, certainly not outside of the Hill School community. In fact, Preston Athey isn't even listed among the 150 most notable Hill alumni on our Wikipedia page. And his wife runs the Wikipedia page. He is indeed a quiet and unassuming hero for the Hill, so that others, like all of our graduates here today, can go out and lead lives of purpose and heroism. Whenever Preston makes a gift to the school, I always plead with him to allow us to attach his name prominently to the corresponding project. Very, very occasionally, he's allowed us to reference his contributions on a small plaque. You have to really look hard around campus to find his name. But more often than not, he demurs or gives others the recognition, such as the Hill Centennial Scholars, the John Harvard Memorial Scholarship, and his most recent gift to endow faculty compensation through the headmaster's position at Hill, which he has named in honor of the Meggs family, our school's founders. Over the last year, knowing that Preston was retiring, current and former trustees, members of the class of 1967, other alumni, and I have secretly contributed funds to acknowledge Preston's leadership of and enduring impact on the Hill. The total committed in Preston's honor from this group amounts to nearly $21 million. Including large estate commitments to Hill's endowment and substantial funding for a long overdue refurbishment of the Academic Center, the building directly behind me. So finally, without any of his financial support or his permission, because frankly, we'd never get it, there is now a building on this campus with Preston Athey's name on it.
surprise you? Yes, I'm totally surprised.
By unanimous vote of the other 27 members of the Hill School Board of Trustees, I am overjoyed to hereby dedicate the Athey Academic Center in honor of Mr. Preston G. Athey, Hill School class of 1967, and his wife, Mrs. Nancy Athey. I'm also pleased to announce that Mr. Athey will soon be named an honorary trustee and our very first board chair emeritus. On this fitting occasion, and as we gather here on the quad, at the very core of Hill's campus and Hill experience, please join me in acknowledging and thanking the Hill School's quietest, most heroic, and favorite son, Mr. Preston Athey.
All right, it's time to hand out some diplomas.
We're working on it.
These guys are cold.
We're getting there. Like I said, he only cares about you. As has been evident to the faculty for some time, and as the rest of you have certainly gathered last night and today, the Hill School class is a wonderful collection of scholars, leaders, artists, humanitarians, athletes, and citizens. The collective talent represented by these young men and women is truly astonishing, which made it especially difficult for our Faculty Prize Committee to bestow our special commencement prizes. Nevertheless, it is with great pleasure that I invite the following members of the Sixth Form to join me on the stage for the prize ceremony. Mamadou Ba. Isabella Basil. Andrew Kyrieleison. Keep walking over. Gabriel Dorsey. Sidney Floyd. Gavin Garrett. Kirsten Lang. Audrey Lennis. Saja Mayfield. James Olson. Kendall Thomas. Julia Weiss. And Cynthia Williams. Just spread over about half of you on this side. You can keep going over here. Guys, half of you on this side. Good, and then you guys stop there. I want to keep you out of the rain, so keep coming in a little bit. Maybe you sort of stagger it. You can back up a little bit, though. We're choreographing this up here. Congratulations to all of you. Come on up, Julia, Cynthia. Get in under the rain. Get it. You guys can stack up a little bit so we're not getting rain on here. When I call your name, please step forward as I read your prize citation. The Hill School Achievement Award, donated by the Rubin family, given to that Hill School Sixth Former who, in the opinion of the Faculty Prize Committee, demonstrates the greatest improvement during the course of his or her Hill School experience. The award is to recognize not only improvement, but also strength of resolve, character, and a desire to achieve in some area. And the medal awarded by the Hill School for the late Oscar Cox in memory of his father, Jacob Cox, for the greatest improvement in scholarship at the Hill School. Cynthia Williams. No. Step up. Step forward. Step forward and wait there. Turn that way. Hey. To say that Cynthia has made a turnaround since her first year at the Hill would be an understatement. Upon first coming to campus, Cynthia had a difficult transition, not fully convinced that the Hill School was the best place for her. We had a meeting. Sometime during her first year, she began to warm up to the community and blossom in all areas of Hill life. From that point on, Cynthia was on a positive path forward, overcoming challenging obstacles and making significant strides with her academic performance, increasing tremendously, increasing her cumulative GPA nearly 0.8 of a point during her 3 years at Hill. She became a standout student leader on campus as a prefect in upper school and as a captain of the basketball team. She's an empathetic friend to her peers and role model on campus to underperformers. However, what has stood out the most has been her personal growth as she has evolved in exemplary character, focus, and resilience. There is no one more deserving of the Reuben Award and the Cox Medal than Cynthia Williams. Congratulations. The Wilbur C. Riley Memorial Award given to that young man who demonstrates outstanding leadership and high sportsmanship in competitive athletics, and the J.T. Moore Jr. Hill Class of 1941 Special Recognition Award presented by the school in recognition of outstanding leadership in enhancing the morale, spirit, and character of the class, Gabriel Dorsey. Gabe has long been an understated young man. He used to let his actions do the talking, either waking up early to catch a workout and shoot some free throws or staying up late to finish his class readings and physics homework. Slowly but surely, Gabe began to find his voice despite his characteristic modesty. Now, when Gabe speaks, people listen. His teammates listen in the locker room and on the basketball court and are spurred to greater teamwork and sportsmanship. The entire community listened when Gabe delivered his powerful chapel talk this fall, speaking of his own personal experiences of racial discrimination and his wish for a more empathetic and just society and Hill. While we will dearly miss Gabe next year, the impact of his leadership will continue to be felt in our community, even in his physical absence. Vanderbilt is getting an exceptional young man next year, and we wish him all the best. Gabe Dorsey. The Charles A. Frank III Class of 1959 Award, established in his honor by the Board of Trustees and Headmaster in 2007, recognizes it in its pure form philanthropy, the love of mankind. Exemplified best in service to others, the spirit cultivated in all students at the Hill encourages them to give back to others and inspires them to do more for the school, community, and country. Kendall Thomas. Kendall Thomas exemplifies what it means to live a life of gratitude and benevolence. She often is found around campus lending her time, talent, and heart to not only her peers, but to the greater community. She is a champion for social justice, organizing key events and serving as a president of SAFE. She is a natural-born leader who leads her peers in the right direction. Her heart and altruism seemingly have no boundaries, and her smile warms any soul it touches. Kendall Thomas is a living, breathing, walking masterclass in munificence and civility, and the Hill has been blessed with her presence. Because of Kendall, this campus will never be the same. It is for these reasons that we are proud to present Kendall Thomas with the Charles A. Frank III Class of 1959 Award. Kendall Thomas. The prize for unswerving loyalty and outstanding integrity in the fulfillment of school responsibilities in memory of Roswell Miller III of the Hill School Class of 1940. This year, the Roswell Miller Prize is presented to both Julia Weiss and Sidney Floyd. Julia's unswerving loyalty and outstanding integrity can be seen in all that she does on campus. Her devotion and virtue extend to various aspects of community life across different athletics teams, social circles, and campus initiatives. She's a one-of-a-kind leader, selflessly committed, passionately empathetic, and powerfully thoughtful. She has truly taken to heart the idea that you could leave a place better than you found it. Her impact on the community has been profound and memorable. Julia Weiss. In addition to the Roswell Miller Prize, Sidney Floyd is also receiving the Jody Calvario Class of 2003 Award, given to that sixth form girl who demonstrates outstanding leadership and high sportsmanship in competitive athletics. As she blazed down the track at record-breaking speeds, Sidney Floyd wowed us with her athleticism, determination, grit, and grace for the past 4 years. Equally adept off the track, Sid developed an uncanny ability to effortlessly float among all different groups of her classmates and amongst teammates from track, soccer, and even basketball. A letter winner in all 12 of her distinguished seasons at Hill, Sid joined the girls' basketball team this winter when we were not able to hold an indoor track season. Her charismatic smile and contagious enthusiasm energized that group. In the same way, she has added energy and character to her classes, dormitory, and advisory. Sid leaves Hill with several school track records and leaves behind a legacy of optimism and integrity that serve as a paragon of excellence for future students to strive to emulate. Her relentless efforts over her Hill career to improve in all areas of school life have earned her the respect of this community, her peers and faculty alike, and garner her both the Roswell Miller Prize and the Jody Calvario Award. Sydney Floyd. Gotta find my place. Skip a few, maybe. The Marion D. Patterson Jr. Memorial Prize for unswerving loyalty and outstanding integrity in the fulfillment of school responsibilities. Isabella Basil. Got it right. I said it right. As expressed in our school's core tenets, the Hill School values and nurtures principles of honesty and genuineness, courtesy and respect, and gratitude and concern for the greater good. Bella best exemplifies this as she lives intentionally each day to serve those around her, whether as a student, a member of the Honor Council, prefect, track athlete, club leader, or the countless other groups of which Bella is a part. She gives all of herself to this school. She leads to elevate those around her, not for individual recognition. In fact, she's probably blushing right now because the attention is focused on her rather than the community. Bella is the keystone that holds this community and graduating class together. We will greatly miss her presence next year, but we know that she will bring that same loyalty and genuineness to UNC. Bella Basil. The award presented by the alumni for the best general record in the sixth form, James Olson. Jamie Olson listens and cares. He observes a scenario without preconception and looks to where and how he can make a positive contribution. Jamie balances a desire for personal growth with strong efforts to make the school and community a better place for everyone. Jamie has the mindset that if something is possible, then he can attain it through hard work and sustained effort. He applies his dedication to his academics, his running, as well as his SGA and prefect work. Jamie always seems to put the concerns and needs of others before his own, and no matter how tough a situation, whether a broken foot or a pandemic, Jamie remains a rock of equanimity for others. James Olson. The prize presented by the Aurelian Honor Society of Yale University for character, leadership, and scholarship. Gavin Garrett. Since first stepping foot on campus as a fourth former, Gavin has defined his time at Hill by his engagement in his studies, his dedication to his own personal growth, and his service to others. Gavin lives and breathes the classes that he takes. Always respectful, Gavin brings out the best in his peers by challenging them to question their opinions and long-held beliefs, and by doing so with empathy. When he is not busy restructuring the world, Gavin dedicates his free time to community service with Hobart's Run and the Young Democratic Socialists, a student political group that he started with some classmates. Gavin will be taking his talents to Yale University in the fall, where he will continue to grow and add his personal touch to shape the future of this world. Gavin Garrett. The prize presented for the Phi Beta Kappa Association of the Delaware Valley to that student who excels scholastically and who possesses inherent character and integrity. It is given not only in recognition of these qualities and attainments, but as an incentive to good scholarship at the level of higher education. And the head of the sixth form, the award given for the highest GPA during the sixth form year, Audrey Lennis. We all know perfection is an aspiration, not a realistic human accomplishment or state of being, but this student's Hill career came close to being both, not only in terms of her scholarship, but even more in terms of the complete picture of her growth, development, and adventures from the day of her arrival until this morning. Academically, she matured from a committed, diligent, and innately curious student into a true scholar, joyful in her learning, internally motivated always to seek the more sophisticated, nuanced answer, read the next text, or explore the further scientific phenomenon. She achieved that rare balance of the innate confidence that only can be born of mastery of ever more challenging material and tasks, with the profound humility that is the distinguishing characteristic of all true scholars. She knows that there is always more to know and understand, and she is eager to pursue both. Through it all, she embraced life at Hill in all its fullness. She distinguished herself across all areas of our curriculum and co-curricular programs, achieving an almost perfect academic record while participating as a 3-season interscholastic athlete, predominantly at the varsity level all 4 years. Even a global pandemic could not daunt her. She adapted gracefully over the past 2 years while never losing her zest for new experiences and adventures, intellectual and otherwise. And although she has never allowed grades to define her academic aspirations, Audrey's GPA is 5.347 and earns her the head of the sixth form in addition to the Phi Beta Kappa Prize. She leaves Hill poised to continue her distinguished scholarly career at the University of Pennsylvania and beyond. Audrey Lennis. The Archibald R. Montgomery Award, established by the class of 1973 and as selected by his or her classmates, is presented to that sixth former who has demonstrated the greatest friendship and personal concern for fellow students. And the Nikolai H. Hiller Jr. Memorial Prize, awarded annually to that member of the school who best demonstrates the spirit of exemplary effort and loyal service to fellow students and the school. 2 awards, 1 recipient, Andrew Kirilason. Recognized by his peers and the faculty for his genuine care and authentic presence, everyone is better for knowing Andrew Kirilason. He maintains the highest ideals of duty, honor, and loyalty in fulfillment of his responsibilities as head of tour, a captain of the boys varsity lacrosse team, and co-president of his class. Andrew has contributed through service leadership to a tremendously positive and inclusive school culture. His legacy lies in those who follow, future leaders he has inspired to be kind, humble, compassionate, and impactful in their governance. Andrew is truly a generational force whose presence and actions have made a considerable impact on the community during this time of unprecedented unrest and anxiety. I am filled with great certainty that Andrew will use his skills and his voice to make the world a better place as he accepts his appointment as a midshipman to the United States Naval Academy. Andrew Kirilason. The Alec Hero Hill Class of 2010 Prize for Unique Leadership in the Sixth Form, Kirsten Lang. The fourth of 4 to attend the Hill for 4 years, Kiki still has forged her own path. She certainly has been successful in a mainstream way. A 2-year prefect, elected head prefect, a 10-season Major H letter winner who consistently has excelled across all of her classes. But those positions and accomplishments do not get at the fiber of who she is. For her impact on the Hill School has extended well beyond any measurable titles or accomplishments. Kiki's presence is definitive every hour of every day in more intimate settings and conversations, whether physically or virtually. And you know she is there because she is genuinely attentive and engaged. Kiki's presence on this campus has been all-encompassing. You know when she is in the room, and it's never just part of her. She may have come to Hill with some familiarity, but the community has evolved in the last 4 years with Kiki playing a major role. Often she is the truth teller in the room, the one with the courage to speak up, one-on-one to a group or the entire community. The Hill School is a better place, especially this year, because of Kiki Lang and who she is. In the path of the namesake for this award, Kiki has led by being true to herself and in turn, true to the Hill School and the important example of Alex Hero, Kiki Lang. One more surprise for you, Mr. Athey. The Preston G. Athey Hill Class of 1967 Award, established in his honor by the Board of Trustees and Headmaster in 2021, recognizes a student with an unyielding commitment to the Hill's motto, whatsoever things are true. The award is given to that Hill School sixth former who, in the opinion of the Faculty Prize Committee, has a strong sense of faith and maintains a positive attitude despite any adversity, always keeping truth, honesty, fairness, purity, beauty, dignity, virtue, and praise of others at the forefront of their thoughts and actions. Mamadou Ba. A kind friend and classmate, a respectful, diligent student, and certainly not one to shy away from hard work. Mamadou arrived here fully aware and appreciative of the opportunities, friendships, and possibilities Hill offered, and he jumped right in. Guided by his faith, deeply rooted in truth like Hill's motto, Mamadou gives 100% in every respect in the most genuine of ways. With that classic, genuine Mamadou smile we've all come to know and love. Though he may not be the tallest or strongest, he might be. He trains hard and plays with an intensity and fierceness on the football and lacrosse fields that is admired by his teammates and coaches alike. As a dorm prefect, he strikes just the right balance of being a stern yet caring big brother and mentor. He has brought audiences to their feet with his vocal talents and his contagious, enthusiastic spirit, performing with the Hill tones and chorus. To be certain, the Hill is forever changed for the better because of Mamadou. In a chapel talk he delivered earlier in the year, he so poetically shared, quote, "The world displays small sparks of the vibrant humanity that is needed to make necessary change," end quote. I think we can all agree that Mamadou himself has been that spark for the Hill and will continue to shine his light at Cornell University and beyond, keeping it real and true since day one at the Hill. Mamadou Ba. The Headmaster's Prize for exemplary effort and sterling contribution to the life and work of the school is given in memory of James D. Andrew of the Hill School class of 1922 and Virginia Andrew and family. Saja Mayfield. Saja Mayfield chose Hill before even stepping foot on this campus. For the Hill School is ultimately defined by what it feels like, even more than being in a physical location. So 4 years ago, when she met Mr. Bala in her native California, along with the representatives from many other schools, she knew right away that the Hill was the feeling for her. Now, as Saja graduates, she certainly has fulfilled the promise of Mr. Bala, Hill School class of 1997. She follows in his very footsteps as co-president of the student body, winner of the Headmaster's Prize, and headed to Harvard University. But Saja has gone far beyond following in any one person's footsteps. There are plenty of incredible achievements for Saja. Before becoming SGA co-president, she spent 3 years on the Honor Council and was a high achiever in the classroom. But it is how Saja has positively impacted others that has defined her experience and, in turn, the entire community's growth. For the Hill School has evolved under her leadership, a community that embraces challenging discussions and collective pursuits now more than ever. Saja is clearly an original who was particularly well suited to take the lead in a year when the community often had to transcend physical location just how she did when she originally chose the Hill. So while Saja will physically leave the Hill School, I hope she'll come back, we will continue to benefit from the feeling she has brought and shared. For the Hill School is indeed a feeling, and one that Saja Mayfield has truly and enduringly captured. Saja Mayfield. Please join me in another round of applause for all of our special commencement prize winners. Hold on. Mamadou, you can stay. Mamadou, just stick around. The prizes we now bestow, these Hill School diplomas, truly are, they're truly our highest and most significant honor and will propel you forward in your life. These documents encompass and represent extraordinary experiences, tireless effort, exceptional relationships, significant accomplishment, and enduring values. Like the 169 sixth forms that have come before you and the incredible deeds they have accomplished armed with the same education and diploma you are about to receive, I am confident that each of you will cherish this honor for the rest of your life, and I congratulate you on earning your Hill diploma. As is our tradition, before awarding diplomas, please stand if you're able and join in as the senior members of our Hill Tones and Trebles lead us in singing our Hill School song, 1,000 Hands.
To fulfill, to shape a dream, to establish strong this our city on the hill. In those fair visions we believe, what years have built did we receive, and ours shall be the charge to leave our high honor higher still. The years go by and from the hill, far apart our fates may fall, but pledged shall be our friendship still. Each to each beyond recall, each one shall do his single best, each one shall stand her single test, and ever know that there shall rest back of each the strength of all.
I promised you it would stop raining just in time. I will now ask Mr. Athey to join me in conferring diplomas on these young men and women as our Associate Headmaster, Dr. Rodriguez Vargas, calls the names of the class of 2021. As a tribute to their exceptional devotion to the school, you will observe that several faculty, staff, and trustees will come to the stage to personally deliver diplomas to their child or grandchild. You will also note that after receiving their diplomas, the class of 2021 has chosen to continue the tradition begun by the class of 2013 of depositing a special dollar coin to achieve 100% class participation in the Hill Fund as newly minted alumni. We do have a handful of sixth formers who are remote, and their names will be read at the end of the class. And lastly, the class of 2021 will begin a new tradition today, symbolically placing their named brick on the alumni path as they recess, thereby making a permanent mark on these hallowed grounds. We sincerely request that the audience holds their applause until all of the students receive their diplomas. If you would kindly respect that request, we can give a rousing round of applause to all the sixth formers after they are graduated from the Hill. I think they can go.
Oluwanemofe Clarissa Akiyami. Mamadou Alpha Ba. Camelia Grace Barkasi. Isabella Ann Basil. Ada Basil. Brandon Clayton Brandon Clayton Bastion. Cassidy Jade Beating. Matthew Joseph Bennett. Adam Ali Benzanan. Tyler A. Calcagni. Amber Xiao. Corey Nicholas Capri. Trent Robert Charlton. Henry Chen. Iha Chikala. Andrew Marcus Kirilason. Yo Hu Chow. Kennedy Ann Cliggett. Logan Marie Klauser. Andrew Joseph DeSaro. Edward Wanghuo Den. Olivia Luetta Duvall. Harnoor Kaur Dingra. Jazroop Dingra. Evan Alexander Dobbins Timochenko. William Harold Dolhoff. Congratulations. Rohan Desai Dondetti. Gabriel Jerome Dorsey. Aiden James Dunn. Emily Elizabeth Dunn. Tanner Burke Eccleston. Titus Felbor. Isabel Angelina Feldman. Ryan Michael Fish. Louis Franklin Fleischer. Sydney Mackenzie Floyd. Lauren Sage Fudala. Charles Wesley Gardeffi. Caleb Gerdman. Louis Wade Jombert. Hannah Catherine Gordon. Brendan Pascal Grable. Tess Gray. Gavin Glenn Garrett. Casey Charles Gulati. William Lee Gussler. Catherine Mary Grace Gavotis. Andreas Haperis. Claire Victoria Hardermink. Brianna Sue Hartman. Greta Tracy Haverstick. Ella Grace Heft. Paul William Henson. Trey Hicks. Juan Bernardo Hinostroza. Kai Wong Ho. Zoya Pauline Holin. Q An Hong. Elizabeth Lian Hudak. Mohammed Jalal Hussein. John Edward Imperato. Philip Jin. Zachary Michael Kaplan. Alan Kasimov. Ty Keller. Philip LaRue Kirshner. Morgan Kessler. Samid Alexander Khan. Brandon W. Kim. Jason Lee Kim. Martin Kim. Tanner Party Contier. Ethan B. Kreuzberg. Mara Elizabeth Crick. Eleanor Carolyn Lagour. Kirsten Nicole Lang. Ellie Subin Lee. Audrey Bell Lennis. Avery May Ligon. Joseph Megan. Tabitha New Mastrangelo. Saja Imani Mayfield. Teresa Ann McCardle. Mallory Parker McQuaid. Parker William Miles. Euphemia Eleni Miller. Ayana Alanali Morgan. Eric Matthew Nordquist. Laura Elizabeth Ann Null. Jaden Nice. James Terry Olson. Anik Fina Otten. Josephine Anna Paldy. Huey Pan. Sean Parker. Kunal Kamlesh Patel. Leonardo Paul Perez.
Thank you.
Colby Kevin Pyle. Leong Chow. Colleen Elizabeth Quinn. Shannon Elizabeth Quintana. Emily Grace Rakos. Brett J. Reynolds. Eleanor Megan Rice. Nolan Reed Richards. Maxwell Douglas Robertson. Sarah Jane Rogalski. Caitlin Patricia Rosario Contreras. Malika Saluja. Derek Ryan Schmeling. Gia Marie Saravalli. Reina Meul Shaw. Seongyu Sher. Luke G. Shingles. Thomas Davenport Simpson. Susanna Rebecca Soderman. Michael Anthony Soland. Wyatt Paul Steffi. Paul Stone. Carter Murray Straub. Cooper Christopher Sugden. Kyle Patrick Sullivan. Maimuna Araba Silla. Isabella Rose Tabarini. Quinton Mark Tang Sip Xiong. Kendall Elizabeth Thomas. William Bryce Thompson VI. Bradford Philip Tobias. Lin Tian Dong. Naomi Adeza Ude. Grisham Sharma Vazirani. Tianya Wong. Julia Wise. Cynthia Erin Williams. Sarah Elizabeth Wisniewski. Michael Daniel Wong. Christina Chuotong Yao. Lal Yadigan. Lauren Shea Yingling. Wei Ye Chong. I would now also like to acknowledge those students who are currently remote. Rapoles Buividas. Yong Stephen Chen. Alexa Angela Davis. Jia Lin Hong. Bin Bin Lee. Kuyong Lu. Quan Lu Nat Nguyen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to present the Hill School Class of 2021. All right. We're almost done. We're almost done. Find your seats, please. Find your seats. Have a seat. Please be seated. Please be seated. If you would kindly clear the path to the class of 2021, now alumni of this great and historic school, I remind you that this is your commencement, which can be defined both as a completion of your studies here and the beginning of something else. It is the start of an adult life full of opportunity and potential. During your time here, you have seen firsthand what people can do armed with their Hill education. What you do with that education will not only define you, it will define and shape the Hill experience for future generations of our students. As alumni, you have entered a new chapter of your relationship with the Hill. In essence, a never-ending seventh form that will endure for your lifetime if you stay in touch with your classmates, your teachers, and your school, and most importantly, if you honor the values and principles you learned here. I wish you all good luck and Godspeed. I ask our parents and guests to please remain in your seats until after the faculty recession, followed by the student recession. It's going to go a little bit slow because our students are putting their bricks in the path. It'll only take a second. It'll only take a second. Remember, if it's not your brick, it's not a big deal. I hope you will allow our faculty to make it to the Dell so they can enjoy our marvelous Dell Jump tradition with their students as well. As you make your way to the Dell, please do don your masks and remain spread out so that we can ensure a safe and healthy final moment for our students, employees, and guests. As a reminder, if you have lost your alumni shirt, they will be available in the back of the library. Reverend Adams will now pronounce the benediction.
Please stand if you're able. As we go our separate ways, may God's wisdom guide you, God's strength direct you, and God's power guard you. May you continue to excel in leadership, scholarship, and service. May you stay true to your dreams and use your gifts wisely. May your integrity be a gift to the world and your voices rise up for peace and justice. May you hold these memories in your heart as you move forward, leading lives of fulfillment and joy. May you walk into the future with faith, hope, and love. And finally, may the Spirit of God be with you always. Amen.
Thank you for sharing this special day with us, and congratulations again to the Hill School class of 2021 and their families.
sometimes it gets stuck. We got to put it for a little while. Just stay it. Just stay it. Let's go back and get it, please. Walk. Right where Eddie's car is.
Best seat in the house. RG's flat, man room. Third foot.